In 15th century, the Spanish Empire developed a motto, and that motto is Ni Plus Ultra. Na ang ibig sabihin ng Ni Plus Ultra na yan, it simply means no more beyond. Wala nang beyond, wala nang ibang nakikita pa beyond something. So, the king and queen of Spain believed that their empire had spread all over the world. Ibig sabihin, yung para sa king and queen of Spain during that time in 15th century, yung kanilang nasasakupan ay nasakupan na nila ang buong mundo. Ang kaharian nila ay nasakop na ang buong mundo. They believe that the empire is so large that there was no more beyond. Wala nang ibang sasakupin pa, kundi nasakop na nila lahat ang buong mundo. It was in 1492 that King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella helped to finance the voyager or the explorer named Christopher Columbus. Na, is it familiar to you? The name Christopher Columbus. So, ifinance yan ng king and queen to explore the world. And Christopher Columbus dispelled the myth as he traveled around the world and discovered many places. And he showed that Ni Plus Ultra is just a myth because there is something behind. So kasi yung tinatawag nating Ni Plus Ultra, ibig sabihin, no more beyond. Many Christians today believe in an idea that there is no more beyond. Kung tayo ay nasa isang sitwasyon na napakahirap, especially kung tayo may malaking problema, how do you feel? Diba ang pakiramdam natin is parang wala ng katapusan. Wala ng solusyon sa ating problema. Am I right? Diba? So, I remember 2018 when I was hit by so much problem na talagang sunod-sunod. Una, nabangga ang aking kotse. Na kailangan ko ng 185,000 para maipagawa ang kotse ko. Ang kotse inyo na hindi pa tapos bayaran for 5 years, kailangan bayaran. Nagbabayad ako ng 11,400 monthly. Nagbabayad ako ng aking bahay sa subdivision na nagkakahalaga ng 8,433. And then, sunod-sunod ang pangyayari, may nagkasakit na kailangan mo magbayad ng halos kalahating milyon yung bill, as in bill, bukod pa yung sa nabayaran sa binayaran sa mga doctors at sa ibang hospital. So, umabot mahigit 1 milyon. So, ang aking computer shop ay ipinasarado ko dahil mayroong pinatay dun sa kabilang computer shop. So, hindi ako nagkaroon yung aking figure, hindi ko na ipagpatuloy kasi nagkaroon ng peste doon sa lugar namin. So, ito sabi nga, no, when the enemy comes like a flood, sabihin, pagkatitirahin ka ng kaaway, sabay-sabay kang titirahin. Diba? So, kung babalikan mo yung time na yon, you can feel that, is there anything na magagawa mo? Or dun ka na ba talaga sa sitwasyon na iyon na wala nang ibang solusyon? But I thank God kasi God is using so many people around me na tumutulong sa akin. And until now, no, andiyan sila Carol, hindi man kami nag-uusap. Pero during that time na I was talagang very terrible times in my life, na yung isa sa mga best friend mo pa na kinikilala mo, tinitingala mo, dahil yun ba namang araw-araw nagpipray ng 3 hours at talagang walang halos sa ulo ang Bible. So, nagtitiwala ka na she can be trusted. Pero we have so many weaknesses, no? At kung saan tayo mahina, dun tayo titirahin ng kaaway. So, during that time, only God is with me. At yung mga taong ginamit niya sa paligid ko. Andiyan sila Carol na hindi kami masyado nag-uusap naman. Yung mga kapatid niya, andun yung ibang mga kasamahan ko na tumutulong umaalala sa akin. Si Tita Catherine, hindi ko pa nakikita yon na wala si Tita Catherine no, for how many years? 2 years yata nakita no, tita, no? So, but thanks God. Kasi akala ko noong time na iyon is wala nang solusyon. But sabi nga, no, when we are going to think that there is no more beyond, your spirituality will stagnate, will be stagnant. Magiging hindi mag-grow ang iyong spiritual life. They are locked in a pattern of no more beyond in the horizon of our lives. Kasi kung iisipin natin is wala na, may problema kang kinaharap, at ang iisipin mo lamang ay wala ng pag-asa, ang mangyayari sa'yo, you will be stagnant. Andun ka lamang dun sa time na yon, dun sa sitwasyon na yon, na wala kang makikita na solusyon. So in other words, you need to stretch out your faith to see that there is something behind your situation. Diba? As Christian, kailangan maipakita natin na we are children of God. We need to stretch out our faith. Na kahit ano pang nangyayari sa ating paligid, we know that there is something more for us. Alam natin na mayroon pang ibang mangyayari sa buhay natin. Something, the best is yet to come in our lives. Diba? Everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason. Bakit tayo dumaranas ng temptation? Bakit dumaranas tayo ng problema? Because God has a purpose. Sasabihin natin na, ay kaya ka nang dumaranas ng problema, maraming naririnig na ganun kasi wala kang faith. Diba? Ang aatakihin sa'yo is faith. What is faith? Faith is trusting God. Hindi lamang believing, kasi kahit ang diablo ay naniniwala kay Kristo. Diba? So when we say faith, it is trusting, believing and trusting God in times of trials and suffering, in good and in bad times. Yun ang faith na tinatawag natin. Kaso lang mali yung interpretasyon ng karamihan sa atin pag sinabi nating faith. Sasabihin mong faith, kaya ka dumaranas ng ganyan kasi meron kang hidden sin na hindi mo pa nasasabi sa Panginoon. Kaya ikaw dumaranas ng paghihirap na ganyan. Eh how about Job? Naaalala niyo si Job? How about Joseph? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Paano mo masasabi na sila yung mga walang faith? Sabi nga niya, diba, sa Psalms, sinasabi na ang gold, it must be put to fire to be refined. Paano mo masasabi na ang isang bagay ay matibay kung hindi ito susubukin? Paano mo masasabi na pure ang iyong spiritual life, ang iyong Christianity, if you will not be tested and tried? Our life must be tested. It is easy to say that we are Christians and we love God. We can talk big about our faith. But when trials come and hit you, can you say that you still have faith? Diba? Lalo na kung tayo'y namatayan, nawalan tayo ng pera, as in talagang naubos, wala kang mapupuntahan. That time, nagtatanong ako, nagbibigay ako ng tithes. Nung time na ang aking pastor ay kailangan pumunta ng Amerika, walang pera, nagbigay akong 5,000. Nagbibigay ako sa mga pastor na hindi ko kilala sa Pilipinas. May pinagawa akong extension ng church sa Pilipinas, hindi ko kilala, hindi ko alam kung totoo. Sinabi lang sa akin. So, why my finances has been hit and attacked? Sisisihin ko ang Panginoon. It is a test. You have to be tried. Para malaman mo sa sarili mo kung ikaw ay talagang totoong Kristiyano. Hindi ang Panginoon, para hindi malaman ng Panginoon. Because God knows who are you, who are we in His presence. Madaling sabihin natin na tayo may pananampalataya. But if we are not tried and tested, hindi natin malalaman na talagang tayo ay may pananampalataya. So let your faith be stretched and believe that God has something more for you. Trust that there is a deeper and richer experience than you currently have. So believe that God will gonna lead you in the height of glory. Kayo ba'y naniniwala that God will gonna lead you in the height of glory? Na yung sitwasyon ninyo sa panahon ngayon, sitwasyon natin sa panahon ngayon, hindi lamang tayo nandito, but God has something best for us. Of course, we believe that God has something good for us. That God is going to lead us beyond the fog of our spirituality. So, akala natin, pag tayo ay may problema, parang ang hirap, di ba? We always look for someone who can give us comfort. Ang una nating tinatakbuhan ay ang phone, rather than the throne of God. Di ba? Especially when you are going to make a decision. Ang hirap-hirap gumawa ng decision. We will ask so many people around us, ano ba ang dapat kong gawin? But it is you and God. God will reveal to you what is the best decision that you are going to make. Believe that in the face of obstacle, there is something more. That in the face of difficulties, there is something more. That in overwhelming problems, there is something more. That in the face of opposition, in the face of criticism, doubt, fear, failure, and defeat, there is something more. So, doon tayo nagiging failure. We can praise God when we are in a comfortable zone. But you know what is the pure worship na tinatawag? Yung time na ikay hirap na hirap ka sa iyong buhay, na ikaw ay masamang-masama ang iyong kalooban, na parang walang-wala kang kakampi sa mundong ito, but still, you can praise God. Naalala ko sabi ni Pastor Romy that time sa sayang ko. Yung time na namatay yung kanyang brother, diba? Ang hirap-hirap mag-worship sa Panginoon, but still, he was able to worship God. In that time na mayroon siyang namatay yung kanyang kapatid. That is pure worship. You can worship God in times of trials. You can worship God in times of trouble. Pero most of us, kailan lang natin siya na-worship? Kung tayo ay masaya. Kung tayo ay maraming pera. Diba? Ako'y blessed kasi may pera ako. Ako'y blessed kasi wala akong sakit. Pero papaano kung yung suffering mong iyan is the way of God to teach you and to strengthen and stretch out your faith. So kailangan nating ibalansahin lahat. Kailangan nating tingnan kung ano yung inire-reveal ng Panginoon sa lahat ng suffering na ating pinagdadaanan. At huwag mong sasabihin sa iyong mga kasamahan na kaya ka dumadanas ng suffering because you don't have faith. Kasi naranasan ko yan. Marami nagsabi sa amin na wala kang faith. Wala kang, where is your faith? Kasi hindi ako nakakalabas ng statutory holiday. Sasabihin sa akin na, where is your faith? Papaano kung there is a reason behind bakit hindi ako lumalabas? Na kung papaano kung pinalalabas ako, ang puso ko naman is naaawa ko, ayaw kong lumabas. Wala pa rin akong faith. Can you see faith? Nakikita niyo ba ang faith? Di ba hindi natin makikita yung faith? It is between you and God. You cannot judge anyone because of his suffering, because of his life situation. Kasi madali tayong magsabi na tayo ay walang faith ang ating mga kasama. Wala kang faith kasi hindi ka marunong mag-pray. Paano kang puso mo ay nagpipray? It is not the eloquence. It is not the perfect grammar that you are saying. Kundi ang tinitingnan ng Panginoon ay ang puso ng tao na nagwo-worship sa Kanya. The Bible shows two characters that exemplify this spirit of belief or trust in God and willingness to move forward in the face of overwhelming obstacles. At ang pangalan nila ay si Caleb at saka si Joshua. So, ito yung setting. Israel is on the borders of the promised land and there is obstacle between them. So Moses, makikita yan sa Numbers 13, Moses Moses 12 men. He assigned 12 men. Lahat ay leaders ng 12 tribes. So he assigned 12 men, all leaders, to go out and spy out the land for 40 days. So parang yung sa situation nila na sila ay hinahabol ng Egyptians. Remember that time that I share message. So andun sila, nasa sa harapan that time, nasa harapan nila ay ang Red Sea. At sa likuran nila, they are being chased by the Egyptians. So dun sa sitwasyon na yon, they don't know what to do. Diba? Kung ikaw ang nasa sitwasyon na gayon, anong gagawin mo? So kaya karamihan, nakita na nila yung miracles na ginawa ng Panginoon. Pero ano yung kanilang sinabi? Dinala mo kami dito, Moses, para kami ay patayin. Diba? Hindi naalala ng mga taong ito that they were delivered to be saved from the hands of the Egyptians, from the hands of Pharaoh. So, ngayon naman, nasa border sila ng Promised Land. Malapit nang makarating sa Promised Land. And Moses assigned 12 men para pumunta, para mag-spy out doon sa Promised Land na yon. Dahil kailangan nilang tingnan kung ano ang mayroon doon. Sino ang nandun? Anong klaseng lupa mayroon doon? Sino-sino ang mga nakatira? Gaano ka-abundant yung lupa na yon? They quietly sleep on Canaan to spy out the land. Makikita yan sa Numbers chapter 13. It describes the story about the 12 men, the spies. So Moses sent out the spies to spy out the land of Canaan. It is a very good espionage, di ba? Ginawang detective ang 12 men. So checking the situation in another country, minanmanan nila yung lugar na yon. So Moses said to the contingent of the espionage not to let themselves known and see whether they are strong or weak. Ay sino ba naman ang detective na magpapakilala na sila ay detective? Kung kayo ay mamanmanan, kung gusto kong malaman kung sino o anong pagkatao ninyo, hindi naman siguro magpapakilala na, oy, kayo mamanmanan ko. Diba? Kayo ay kailangan kung kayo ay aking susubukin. Diba? So, ito ay isang, sila ay spies na ang kabilin-bilinan ni Moses ay wag silang magpapakilala at wag magpapakita. Tingnan lamang kung the people living in that land is strong or weak. If they are few or many, marami ba sila? Kasi kailangan mong alamin ang iyong kaaway. Ikaw basta susugod sa gera na hindi mo alam, hindi mo kilala ang iyong kaaway. Di ba kailangan nating manmanan at alamin kung sino yung ating kaaway. Parang tayo sa ngayon. Ang Diablo, nakatingin yan sa inyo. Hindi yan basta-basta umaatake. Diba? Tinitingnan ng devil kung ano yung inyong kahinaan. At once na kayo ay napag-isa, kayo ay biglang aatakihin. Especially kung kayo ay nanghihina sa pananampalataya. So, kaya nga yung lion, di ba? The devil is like a roaring lion waiting for the opportunity to devour you. Kung pag-aaralan ninyo ang buhay, ang character ng isang lion, hindi yan basta umaatake sa araw. Umaatake yan sa madilim. Umaatake yan pag kayo nag-iisa. Ganon ang lion. So kaya nga ang devil ikinumpare sa lion. So, Numbers chapter 13, verses 17 to 20. Moses sent out the spies to spy out the land of Canaan. So, para malaman if they are weak, if they are strong, if they are few or many, whether the land they dwell is good or bad, whether they are, the cities they inhabit is like camp or strongholds, whether the land is rich or poor. So, ang kabilin-bilinan ni Moses doon sa spies na yun is big good courage and bring some fruits of the land. That time is the season of ripe grapes. So the spies followed Moses' instruction carefully, and they were faithful to their assignment. So as leaders, ini-assign ni Moses yung 12 leaders of the tribes. At kasama dyan si Caleb and si Joshua. So, ang gagawin lang nila, mag-i-spy, titingnan kung ano yung kahinaan ng mga nandoon, ano yung strong points nila, ano yung mayroon sa lupa na yon. So, they came back after 40 days and gave glowing report. Maganda ang report. They brought cluster of grapes that was so heavy that it took 2 men to carry it. And they brought baskets of grapes and pomegranate from that land, from Canaan. So, but Israel's euphoria immediately changes. Alam mo yung euphoria na tinatawag? Excitement. Biglang nagbago. Sinabi muna yung mabuti, sinabi muna yung maganda. But, in the end, sinabi nila kung ano yung kinatatakutan nila. Their euphoria changes to doubt. Tayo ganun eh, di ba? Masyado tayo excited pag nakikita natin yung maganda. Pero pagka may nakikita ka ng hindi maganda, bigla tayong nagiging doubtful. Nagkakaroon tayo ng fear. So, I want you to read Numbers chapter 13, verses 28 to 33. 28 to 33. But the people living there are powerful. Yun ang sabi ng spies. And their towns are large and fortified. Fortified, ibig sabihin, strong. Ibig sabihin, talagang sila ay malalakas na tao ang nakatira doon. We even saw giants there and the descendants of Anak. The Amalekites live in the Negev, and the Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country. The Canaanites live along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea and along the Jordan Valley. So, ibig sabihin, maraming kaaway. Napapalibutan sila ng kaaway. But, Caleb tried to quiet the people as they stood before Moses. Let's go at once to take the land, he said. We can certainly conquer it. Ang sabi ng 10 spies, malalaki ang taong nakatira doon, higante. But, iba yung sinabi ni Caleb at saka ni Joshua. Sabi ni Caleb, we can conquer it. So, but the other men who had explored the land with him disagreed. We can't go up against them. They are stronger than we are. Sabi pa nga, we are just like grasshoppers compared to them. Isipin mo yun, no? You have a big God, pero ang iyong tingin sa iyong sarili ay isa kang maliit lamang, isang mahina. Nakita na nila yung lahat ng miracles na ginawa ng Panginoon. 32. So they spread their bad report about the land among the Israelites. And the land we traveled through and explored will devour anyone who goes to live there. All the people we saw were huge. So ibig sabihin, ano yung nakikita ng mga taong ito? Lahat ng nakikita nila ay negative. Nakita nila yung anong mayroon doon. Abundant, overflowing nga, sabi nga, di ba? With milk and honey. But the problem is, the people living there are giants, sabi nila. Will, sa ibang translation, isaswallow lamang sila noon, ang mga taong nandun. They will be swallowed by the land. Isipin mo yun? Isaswallow ka ng lugar na yon. So, what a fate, di ba? 33. We even saw giants there and the descendants of Anak. Next to them, we felt like grasshoppers, and that's why that's what they thought. So, ibig sabihin, ang tingin nila sa kanilang sarili ay sila ay napakaliit. Diba? At ang nakatira doon ay napakalalaking mga tao. And they will not be able to defeat that giants. The more you doubt God, the more you exaggerate the problem. Am I right? Diba? Kapag ikaw ay naging doubtful sa Panginoon, natural lamang, you are exaggerating the problem. Napakalit na problema, pero ang tingin mo sa problema na yun ay napakalaki because you doubt the power of God. You doubt that God will help you to solve your problem. Caleb and Joshua came back, and they do have a proverbial head in the scene. They see the same thing that the 10 spies saw, but there is one difference. Naunang bumalik yung 10 spies, at ang sinabi ay ito nga, maganda, may dala silang mga prutas, pero sabi nga, they will be swallowed by the land. Because the people living there are giants. Pero magkaiba sila ng sinabi ni Joshua at ni Caleb. So let us see the difference. The God of Caleb and Joshua is bigger than their problem. The focus of the spies was on the problem, but Joshua and Caleb was on God. So when problem arise in your life, if the focus of your attention is on the problem, you are gonna tend to exaggerate your problem. Nakuha ninyo? Kung ang focus ninyo ay sa problema, you are exaggerating the problem. And yung tingin nyo sa Panginoon ay isang maliit na God. Kasi mas ini-exaggerate ninyo yung problema. We always talk about our problems. But when we talk, when it is about God, parang tayo inaantok. Di ba? Sabi nga, ayaw nga natin ng mahabang sermon, di ba? Hindi. That's the truth. Pero nung unang panahon, buong araw ay ibinubuhos nila sa pagsamba. But we spend more time in eating. We spend more time in chatting with each other than talking about the goodness of God. When problem arise in your life, if the focus of your attention is on the problem, you will gonna exaggerate your problem. And it will become larger. And it will gonna overwhelm you. Parang wala ng pag-asa. Kasi mas nakafocus ka doon sa problema. Mas nakafocus ka doon sa problema na akala mo'y walang solusyon at hindi mo nakikita yung goodness ng Panginoon. If your God is as small as your problem, you have a small God. Take note of it. So the more you focus on your problem, the more the human mind is going to tend to exaggerate the problem. How about you? Are you focused on your problem? Nakafocus ba tayo sa problema? Or you are focused on God who is bigger than your problem? Amen. If you focus on the giants of your life, you will gonna appear like a grasshopper. Kasi ang tinitingnan mo yung giant. So ang tingin mo ngayon sa iyong sarili, napakababa ka. Kung ang tinitingnan mo ay yung isang ability ng isang tao at hindi mo nakikita yung iyong ability, nakikita mo yung gift ng ibang tao, hindi mo nakikita yung gift na ibinigay sa iyo ng Panginoon, ang tingin mo sa iyong sarili ay napakaliit ka. Ang tingin mo sa iyong sarili is siya ay anointed at ikaw ay hindi ka anointed. Diba? Doon tayo nagkakamali sa word anointed. Ang galing niya, talaga anointed na anointed siya. Sino ba ang tinanggap niyo sa inyong buhay? Is it not the anointed one? Jesus is the anointed one. Once na tinanggap niyo sa buhay niyo si Jesus Christ, binigay niyo yung buong puso ninyo ang iyong buhay sa Kanya, you are anointed. Maaring hindi ka ginagamit sa pulpit, maaring hindi ka ginagamit sa ibang ministry, pero kung ikay naghuhugas yan, you have a big heart, at ginagawa mo yun ng taos puso, maaring ikaw ang saved, at yung nagsasalita dito sa pulpit ang hindi saved. Right. Because many are depending on their knowledge. Diba? Wala dito. Magaling magsalita, pero wala dito. Naalala ko sabi ng aking boss, 1 week ago, sabi niya sa akin Merlin, tingnan mo. Ang aking kapatid, kasi yung kapatid niya lalaki is parang isang backslider. Maraming pain na pinagdaanan siya. noong nasa church dito sa Hong Kong. As in talagang sobra. So, disappointed. Eh, lumaki pa siya sa isang Christian family, bishop ang kanya, ano. Lahat talaga sila napabayaan. As in talagang nakafocus ang parents sa ministry. So, nung nandito sa Hong Kong, siya ay nag-serve sa isang church. Marami pinangako yung church na yon. But then, walang nangyari. Pero parang bumabalik. Pero nung ipinanganak siya, sabi ng mother ng aking amo, Lord, kung hindi mo gagamitin ang aking anak, kuhanin mo na siya. Nag-iisang lalaki. Patayin mo na lang siya. Kung hindi mo siya gagamitin, kung hindi siya magiging iyo, yun ang panalangin ng mother ng aking amo. So one time, nung isang Sunday, nung nakaraan, sabi niya sa akin, Maritina mo, kumakanta yung kanyang kapatid na Christian song. Ipinadala sa mga kapatid. Sabi ng aking amo is, itong kapatid kong ito ay siyang masisave kumpara sa amin. Diba? You can be good. You can be good in praying. You can be good in everything. You can be good in ministry. You can be good in serving God by serving the people. But still, your heart is being tested by God. Totoo ba yan sa puso mo? O kaya mo lamang ginagawa because you want to be known. Dahil sa isang obligasyon na hindi galing dito. Hindi for the glory of God. Gusto mo lang na mag-glorify ng tao. Gusto mo lang maging ma-please ka ng maraming tao na nakapaligid sa iyo. So, huwag niyong titingnan kung ano yung inyong ability. Dahil ang tinitingnan ng Panginoon ay ang puso ninyo. Many can be good in preaching, in teaching. Pero ang tinitingnan ng Panginoon ay ang puso. Maaaring, ako'y hindi saved. Sa tingin ko save ako. Pero si Tita Catherine ang nandun sa langit at ako'y wala. Kaya huwag na nating titingnan ang abilidad ng isang tao. Hindi yan nakikita sa abilidad dahil ang nakikita ng Panginoon ay ang puso natin. If you focus on problems, you will tremble in fear rather than moving forward in faith. Diba? Once na tayo ay nakafocus sa problema, anong nangyayari? Nanghihina tayo sa pananampalataya. Nagiging doubtful ka sa kakayahan ng Panginoon. But when you look forward, when you look at the goodness of God in your life, you will move forward in faith. Here is the good news for all of us. We are weak, but God is strong. We are frail, but He has enduring might. And the kind of glory of God is with us. And He will